Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria, where my voice is still not back to normal. It will get there eventually, but it is not today. So I have to apologize for my voice here. I'm still working on recovering from this illness, but we must proceed here. So we're going to be diving into Victoria for the continuation of our Carpetanian mega campaign. Of course, this mega campaign does not require that you have watched the previous iterations of the mega campaign. We will not be importing in the game. So let's just hop directly into a new game here, and let's start game. And we are going to be playing as Russia. This is going to be kind of an extension of our Transoxania previously, and we're going to release a couple of states right away because we didn't have those areas conquered. However, there are some areas that we didn't have conquered that we are going to be keeping. And the justification for that is as follows. One, we're not particularly free in how we end up releasing states. As we can see, these states here are kind of huge, and they release in some awkward ways. So we can go into our release subject tab here. Some of these are just not allowed to do because we haven't researched pan-nationalism. That's fair enough. But some of these are allowed, but if we looked at, say, Kamchatka, where we had a significant portion of this out over here that we didn't have controlled previously, but we can only release it in this shape. That's kind of an awkward shape, and there are areas in there that we did control. So that is definitely not amazing, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to leave the borders out over here. It's about 10 years later than it was in the last campaign. There's a bit of a gap between Europa and Victoria. So we're going to say we conquered this area out over here from the Shogunate. To be honest, we were pretty close to conquering a bunch of that anyway, and the Shogunate was pretty weak. So that would not be shocking that we were able to do that. Now, over on this side, Scandinavia was far, far stronger. We could still win a war against them, and I'm going to argue that we have. We've taken some territory out over this direction. Obviously, Nogai has been mostly annexed, although Kishizuz is over here. So that's all a thing. But we are going to be releasing... Let's see here. We might arguably release Belarus. We're definitely going to be releasing Ukraine here. So we're releasing them as an independent nation. We're going to do the same with Poland. Release as independent. Did Ukraine become a subject nation there? If so, that's not what I intended to do. No. Okay, Ukraine is independent. That's good to know. So other things that we can make arguments that we should release. This area over here, we probably would have ended up conquering about to here or so, plus this stuff up here. If we're going to have the Grand Duchy of Finland be under us, plus taking Karelia, I think arguably we would have conquered to around here or so. So that means that releasing the Baltic states makes a lot of sense. So we can release Latvia, we can release Estonia as independent. Apparently Latvia is our subject nation. That's not intended. Can we just grant independence here? We would get a truce for a little while, but that's okay. I don't mind that. Okay. Puppet started. I don't think that's true, but whatever. I want to check here. Okay, so yeah, we have a truce with Latvia, but they have been released. Okay, so that is absolutely fine. We'll do the same thing with Lithuania, release as independent. And we are, I think, going to do Belarus as well. So we'll release that as independent. And this is going to be where we are going to start here. So this will be our starting position. We've taken a little bit more territory from Scandinavia here. And we've got the Grand Duchy of Finland under us. So that is all absolutely fine. This area out over here, we're arguing that we just took from the Shogunate in the intervening years, but we simply didn't have enough time to have conquered all of this. Now we will get there, and that'll be absolutely fine. We can start reconquering these basically immediately, and we might want to. I'm not sure what our current interests are. We have a declared interest in Poland. Sure. Okay. So these are our interests right now. I'm interested in Manchuria, definitely. Anatolia, potentially. So if we wanted to rebuild Transoxania, that would be like Anatolia and Persia down over here, and then Arabia as well. And that's pretty much what Transoxania was like this area up over here, right? So it would be something along the lines of that. Now, we have no active research right now. I think that we should probably go a little military heavy here. We have this redone military system, and to be honest, I don't know how it works. Why are you filling? Okay, like I said, to be honest, I don't know how the new military system works. I've not played with it before. We'll figure it out. Okay, so we can see that we have an input goods shortage of hardwood. That is relatively fine. If we were to go, we have plenty of logging camps that we can make. But do we actually produce hardwood from our logging camps right now? That's something we should check into. Rural. Logging camps. No, we don't. Let's switch over to focused hardwood production. We should go through all of our productions here. And we can definitely go over to sweeteners. We can't go down here. We could go to pot stills. That seems okay. For our textile mills, craftsman sewing seems reasonably fine. I'm just going to go through all of these here and see what we've got going on. Okay, tooling workshop. Yes, that's okay. Our construction is very, very low. I'm going to keep our construction a little lower than I have in the past. Or at least I'm going to try to. I may not succeed. I'm bad at that. Yeah, this would have... This is new. Okay, I want to not switch our urban center. That does make sense. Okay. No coal. Yes, that's fine. Okay. So all of those urban ones seem relatively okay. Technology is going to be a bit of a concern. Let's see here. Apple orchards is fine. Harvesting tools, let's go to. We're probably going to have to boost our tool production. Yes, I'm aware of that. That is fine. Okay. So harvesting tools for all of those. Butchering tools will be okay as well. Tool production will very likely be a short-term issue for us here, but that's relatively fine for the moment. Yeah, I'm just going through all of these and making sure that this is all relatively fine. What was this? Fishing trawlers? We're going to be lacking clippers, and we already have a clippers input goods shortage. I'm aware of this. And for the moment, that's probably okay. Are we better off being privately owned here? Probably. We're on subsistence farms with serfdom. Okay, that is noted. We can run cargo ports. This is going to create some issues, but reasonably, we should be able to cover that. Okay. So I do want to expand out our construction somewhat. The question is how much? These are pretty expensive. I'm going to get one construction in each of these locations for now. That's what we're going to do for the moment. Now, as far as research goes, like I said, I want to go kind of heavy into the military field here. This has definitely been changed up. Okay, the ships used to be on this side. Noted. So that's very interesting, no doubt about that. We can go to like shell guns, percussion caps, field works. All of these are going to be about 4 years to research. That's reasonably fine. I think logistics is maybe not a bad thing. What is our conscript situation? We have no conscript battalions currently, but we're not mobilized. I don't know how the conscripts work in the current situation. So these army groups are all demobilized. Okay, noted. We can choose different types of supplies. That's very interesting. Forced march is over here. That's definitely noted. Okay, what is our law situation here? So we need to go into our laws, and we're on peasant levies right now. So how do we do conscripts then? This is something I attempted to figure out when I tried the beta for the new military system, and I never figured out how exactly to activate conscripts in this new system. And apparently I'm still not aware of this. So that is definitely interesting to note. So if we mobilize this, that'll begin the process of mobilization for all battalions assigned to it. Yes. That works largely the same as the previous army situation did. But one thing I'm wondering is, perhaps we no longer have conscript battalions? Okay, conscription centers were previously automatically built, and I'm not seeing any capacity for building barracks anymore. So that's definitely a change. Well, here's barracks, and here's conscription centers. Okay, so these appear to be in some way automated at this time. We don't appear to be able to add more barracks and conscription centers at will. So that's definitely why we can't conscript, because we have no conscription centers, just broadly. I'm wondering if that's gated behind a technology now. That didn't used to be the case, but perhaps it is at this time. So we've got like army reserves here, extra conscriptable battalions. Okay. If conscription had been activated across all states. Maybe that's in a decree now? No, these all seem pretty much the same. Okay, we'll have to figure that out. But for now, we can definitely proceed forward a little bit, I think. Well, we have our construction going here. We have a Clippers input goods shortage. And we know that we're going to have some issues here. No doubt about that. We have some disappearing interests. We'll deal with that. Low maximum organization over here. And I think a lot of this has to do with these guys being stationed in locations that are no longer in our borders. So I think what we need to do is figure out how to change what HQ they're at. Okay, you can go to the Russia HQ for now. And then where was this other one? That was you in Belarus, I think? Yes. So you definitely need to move over to the Russia HQ for now as well. Okay, so that should solve that particular issue. In theory. So we can proceed forward. I'm definitely interested in attacking some of these nations that we just released. So the question is, how would we go ahead and do that? This would make them into a protectorate, so that would force them to become a puppet. We may target them with annexation if we do this. So we may want to just directly do this right now. Okay, so our side, yeah, undecided would be all of these guys. We'll see what they end up doing. We're going to start this. This system with the diplomatic plays is why I tend to be kind of passive in Victoria, because there's so much opportunity. Okay, Estonia has refused our demand. That's not shocking. So these guys can all join. That's why I become kind of passive in Victoria. We'll see how that ends up going. For the time being, I want to move this army. I want to mobilize them and move them over to this front. So how do we move them to the front? Deploy to front. Okay. There we go. So they're going to start deploying over to the front once they get mobilized. That will be reasonably fine, in theory. We do see that China wants to enter into a trade agreement with us. I will accept that for the time being. That seems reasonably fine. So we do have these construction sectors still being worked on. It seems like construction sectors are quite a bit slower to grow now. That's definitely noted. Okay. So, we're going to be preparing over here. We're currently at 48% mobilization, and we're going to move in and attack Estonia. So that'll be absolutely fine. We should have no problem with that. The question that I have right now is how much infamy did that get us? 6.4? Very little. Sweden sided with Estonia. Very, very rude. Okay, so in that case, I'm going to mobilize these guys, and we're going to put them up at this Swedish front, which apparently includes all of this. Prussia sided with Estonia as well. So that could potentially be a problem. 3502 compared to our 3313. We'll see how that goes. So we're probably going to need to mobilize additional forces here. I'm going to mobilize these guys and send them over to the Estonia front. And I'm going to mobilize these guys and send them over to the Sweden front. Okay, we'll get additional forces moving here. That'll be fine. We are seeing negative income at this time, which is not surprising at all. That is completely and totally expected. We want to get Estonia under our control, and we want to get these guys out of here. Eventually, it should be okay. Prussia is now damaging relations. That's very rude of them. Wait. We control this? I feel like we shouldn't. Can we actually get rid of that, though? That would be Bulgaria, and we have to control the Bulgarian capital state in order to release them. So we actually physically cannot release Danubia. I guess we have like a treaty port over there or something. Sure. That'll be fine for now. So we also see Finland sending a small force over here. Looks good. The real question is anyone else going to join this? This is still a long ways to go on this diplomatic play. That feels like that's taking a lot longer than it used to. We'll definitely keep an eye on that situation. That said, as long as these guys don't decide to join, it shouldn't be a problem. So that looks good. We're going to invade Estonia here very soon. We do see that our trade route exporting grain to the Spanish market is inactive. And we can just get rid of that for now. That'll be fine. So what are we short on right now in terms of things? Clippers, paper, artillery, groceries. Noted. We're still working on this construction sector, and for the moment that's reasonably fine. I do think that we should probably get some of these groceries dealt with. So groceries, paper, clippers, artillery. Noted. So we're going to go into our industry here. We're going to build a paper mill, just one. We're going to build a shipyard. Ah, shipyards and military shipyards are now different. Interesting. That's very good to know. We're already building one in, I think, our private constructions here. We'll toss in a second one there. Okay, so then we would need a food industry somewhere around here. And then, arms and artillery are different now as well. Fascinating. So we'll get all of that queued up. This was intended to be at the bottom of the queue, like this. Cool. So we'll see how this ends up going. We do have a few forces still in reserve here. They're relatively small forces. And we may want to mobilize this unit and send them up to the Swedish front. We'll just get them going. We'll hold these two armies in reserve for the time being. So that'll be reasonably fine for now, in theory. We are going to see this diplomatic play finishing up fairly soon. So that'll be good. The target is currently confident, which is not a great sign. Sweden and Prussia are, of course, going to be kind of difficult for us to deal with, I feel like. But we do need to start pushing in over here basically immediately. And if we can get some territory away from Sweden in the peace deal as well, that wouldn't be bad. We could maybe give some of this to Finland. We are currently seeing the balance of power being in our favor in both of these locations. So we'll see what ends up happening with this actual war. They want Ostrobothnia and Russian war reps. Okay. Well, I think for now, I'm going to mobilize these guys. I didn't want to move their HQ. I wanted to mobilize them. And move them up to Sweden as well. I feel like we need more, so we're going to just move these units over. Excellent. So more forces are trickling over here. I don't know that Prussia is actually going to do much here, is the thing. Okay, so this war is broken out at this point. So what we want to do right now is we want these guys to be attacking. So is there any difference in attacking and defending at this point? We have a huge advantage here. Are we actually attacking, though? That is an interesting question for sure. I guess what we need to do is designate a strategic objective here and here. And maybe that will trigger them to actually attack. We'll see. I'm not seeing any battles occurring here. So how do we have battles occur? Oh, here is one. Cool. So we are winning this battle. That looks good. Our offense is 16, defense is 12. This screen looks basically unchanged. Okay. So we're going to be pushing into Estonia here. And of course, we are currently fighting out over this way. And we're losing this battle against Sweden. So that is definitely noted. I'm not shocked given the numbers here. I'm not shocked about that one at all, that we're losing this battle. So that is not surprising. We are at 100% over here now. So that's very interesting. So are we actually pushing in over this way? Yes, it looks like we have indeed occupied some of Estonia, I think. It's a little hard to see, but I'm pretty sure we have. We're going to win that battle easily. This battle, of course, we are currently losing, which isn't shocking, all things considered. Okay, so we're going to continue to press into Estonia here. This battle we are also losing, which I'm not surprised about. Prussia declared a rivalry. I'm not sure that Prussia is even sending forces to this, though. That's the thing. So Estonia is going to be fully occupied very soon here. Once that's fully occupied, then we could put all of our force into Sweden. Also, I'm not sure what's going on with this army here. It doesn't appear to actually have anything. Okay, line infantry, mobile artillery, and lancers. Fascinating. So we'll need to take a look at that eventually. But for now, I just want to get Estonia fully occupied, which it nearly is at this point. And we're losing these battles with Sweden at this point, but we're also seeing our advantage improve over time. So I think that's reasonably good here. Looks like Estonia has now been fully occupied. And our armies are redeploying out to the Swedish front. So we can see we're at a 63% advantage against Sweden now, and we're winning this battle. So that's actually huge. I didn't expect to be winning this battle anytime soon. If we can just push them out here and have full control over this crossing, that is absolutely enormous. No doubt about that. So we'll be delighted to push in on here. At this point, our infamy is down to 4.1, so that's noted. Question is Prussia interested in exiting this war yet? The answer is no, they're not. And they've not participated in the slightest. So that's all looking good. Also not interested is Estonia, even in a white piece. We're going to be transferring Estonia. And of course, we're not able to take any territory from Sweden here, so we're actually just interested in Sweden exiting this war. The real question is, when are they going to? We've got an 86% advantage over here. So that looks pretty decent. And then are we able to just directly attack Latvia? If these guys are already not able to fight us, then attacking Latvia might not be a bad idea. Latvia, Belarus. We would avoid getting a border directly with Prussia, perhaps for the time being. I would also be very interested in getting Ukraine under our control. So we can definitely make our way over here and get a lot of this done. We can see that the war enthusiasm for Estonia has dropped significantly. They're not yet willing to exit here, though. Not for a while. But we're at 96% in Sweden. So it looks like Sweden really, really cannot maintain this. That's absolutely great. We're very happy about that one. Do we want to be working on any law changes? Are there even any that we can do? We could go to a dedicated police force. That's probably a good idea. We have no police right now, and we should probably change that. So we'll get going on that. And we are, of course, still constructing over here. I want to get through this construction queue. We're a little bit negative financially right now, which is not shocking. But we're just going to continue to press through Sweden here. This is not going to be any real problem. We have significant occupations inside of Sweden at this point. So that's looking good. They're down to 46. So they have 62 reasons to not accept this now. Make that 50 reasons. Yeah, this is definitely going to be over pretty soon here. A second front has broken out here, but we do have forces on the way to it. Yeah, this is really over for Sweden. This is super, super over. Prussia has just decided not to join, and that basically gives us free reign here, which is great. We're really, really happy about that. So that is absolutely phenomenal. At this point, 26 reasons for Estonia to not surrender. They'll give up on that quite soon. They're now down to 82 on their war support. Excellent. Short duration of war is a lot of that. One more tick, and they'll accept. Sweden at this point has fallen in the north, so that is looking very, very good. We are certainly overrunning this. This system seems very interesting, this army system that they've updated this to. It's definitely better than what it was, I think. Just based on a very brief look that we've had here. So at this point, they have 0 reasons to accept this. Okay. So we're mostly just waiting on the short duration of war here. That's all we need. They're at 100 at this point, so we just need to continue to push through Sweden, which is fine. We're not interested in attacking Prussia if we can help it. We'll avoid that. So that's looking very good. Estonia will be under our control very shortly, despite Prussia and Sweden attempting to interfere. I like it. I'm going to add in a couple of additional construction sectors here because we're constructing very slowly. But I'm going to have these be interspersed among these constructions. So it'll end up being something kind of like that. We'll get that going. And Sweden will be under full occupation very shortly. At this point, Estonia would accept this, but we can't press this because Sweden and Prussia would not agree. Interesting. That's very interesting. Well, we're going to have Sweden knocked out of this war very soon. Prussia is actually sending some forces northward here. They might be starting to actually get involved, but it's way too late. At this point, we can deal with Prussia. The concern would have been dealing with Sweden and Prussia. But Prussian forces are starting to move up here. I think. There are Prussian forces here, right? Yes, there are. Okay, so Prussia is finally starting to get involved here. They have 286 reasons to not accept this deal. But to be honest, this will be done very soon here, I think. Sweden is going to exit this war very soon. Sweden will capitulate. However, we can see that we are going to have to fight through Prussia, and they're going to be a little bit tough for us. But we do win an additional battle there. Yeah, this is fine that we're losing this battle here. This is happening, of course, because Prussia is actually starting to get involved here. This would be very difficult if Prussia had decided to fight earlier in the war. This war would have gone very, very differently, I think. It would have been a lot more grinding. As it is, Sweden's war support is at -37. So Sweden is going to be very interested in exiting this war shortly. So that's great. They've got -15 capitulation desire at this juncture. The question is, how are we going to go about defeating Prussia? Well, that's going to be very interesting. We don't really have any war goals there. And we're currently losing this battle, but we are expecting that we're going to start turning this around as Prussia gets tired of this battle, of this war, I should say. Okay, Sweden just capitulated. So, all of our forces are now heading home. There's basically nothing for us to fight over here because Sweden capitulated out of the war. So at this point, Prussia is not happy about this, for sure. We can't propose a separate peace to Estonia, which is odd. But okay. That's very odd indeed. But we're going to head on home here. And that'll be absolutely great. The real question is, how's Prussia going to try to fight now? I don't know. With Sweden out of the war, that's going to be very interesting. We'll see how they decide to handle that. We may want to demobilize some of these, but there's our dedicated police force, so that looks great. We can also potentially... we could go off of propertied women. I don't think there's a reason to, though. So no other major law changes needing to be done right now. For now, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to see when Prussia is going to exit this. It will be eventually. Eventually. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.